Hey guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about why you must tilt in the golf swing. There's two reasons it's so important that you do it. And there's also two drills I'm gonna give you so you can tilt correctly in your swing, ultimately to be able to hit the ball more solid consistently when you go out to play more golf. Hey guys, today I wanna talk to you about the hanger training aid. Now, I don't know if you've seen this or used this before, but it is absolutely my new favorite training aid. This hanger here creates and controls what I think is the most important part of the swing, which is the wrist angle. It snaps right on. It takes me probably 30 seconds to put on. I can put it right in my golf bag. And best of all, the main trait of a training aid that's really good is you can hit balls with it. You can actually hit balls with it. So I love this hanger training aid. I've been using it probably for the past 6 to 7 weeks in my own game. You may have seen me in videos talk about, hey, I'm really trying to get my left wrist flat at the top. Look at when I do that well, how that sits on my forearm. Now watch when I cut my wrist, how that comes off. Immediate feedback for where my wrist angle's at. I like to use this even during my takeaway. When I set it up here, I like to keep it between my arms during my takeaway, press it against my left wrist for flat left wrist at the top, press it more against. Look at when I press it against, so that shallows my shaft, that keeps my club face square to close, helps me hit from inside. So I absolutely love this. I firmly believe that this is good for every single golfer. There's no one that can have too flat of a left wrist. One of the few things that all good ball strikers have, we're trying to have. Flat left wrist, right? Super easy to use, incredible immediate feedback. With the coupon code GogornoGolf.com, it's only $59, and I can actually hit balls with it and get instant feedback. Yes, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's about as compressed as I can hit a ball, and that's the main point of this hanger. Iron compression. You're gonna absolutely love it. We'll put all the details down in the description down below. All right guys, Eric here out at the Bethlehem Golf Club. In today's video, we're gonna talk about why you must tilt during the swing. We're gonna talk about what tilt is, why you must do it, the two main reasons you have to do it, and then I'm gonna give you two of my favorite drills for you to tilt in the golf swing. Two quick things. I would like for you guys to check out CogornoGolf.com. I can show you how to tilt and do everything else in your swing to help you improve. We're gonna put Cogorno Golf in the first link in the description down below. You can actually even schedule a 15-minute phone call so we can talk, pick out which of our plans is best for you. Would love to see you there. Also, if you like this video, if this video helps you, click that little gray thumbs up button. It really helps us out, and click subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so tilting in the golf swing. First things first, what is tilt? And the simple way I would look at it would be, I can tilt to the left or towards the target, like this. And then I can tilt to the right or away from the target, like this. So tilting to the left would be my left shoulder getting closer to my left hip or the ground this way, be left tilt. I can have right tilt, which would be my right shoulder going down or tilting away from the target. Now, in a golf swing, what happens is during my backswing, I'm gonna have some tilt to the left, which we'll talk about. And then during the downswing, I'm gonna have some tilt to the right. Now, why I must tilt in the swing, the main reason I need tilt is for me to be able to consistently hit the ball solid. And more importantly, because I stand on the side of the ball, for me to maintain my inclination to the ground, I must tilt. So what I mean by that, and one of the two main things of why I need to tilt, number one is inclination to the ground. So when I start my setup, you can see I'm bent over. If I drew a line through my body here, let's say I'm roughly 30 degrees bent over. So this is 180. Let's just say I'm about 30 degrees, so 150. Now at the top of my backswing, what you see good players do is they look like what? They have the same inclination to the ground, or they're still bent over about 30 degrees. Now how that happens is from side bending. So my left shoulder must go down during my backswing. There's an average amount. Let's say I have an 8-iron here. I'd go down, my shoulder tilt would be about 35 degrees or so. What I'm doing is I'm replacing my forward bend with side bend. So if I stood up like this, I tilt to the left, which is my left shoulder down, and then I turn back. Notice that that puts my body on the same angle. So my body's on the same angle, I have the same inclination to the ground, due to me having this left shoulder down tilt, not from actually being bent forward the same amount. If I stayed bent forward the same amount, I'd look like way over here, right? And we don't do that. So tilting during the backswing. Now during the downswing, the same thing applies. You see good players, the angle of their torso, if you do that line in there, right? It's kind of maintain your posture. Left shoulder down on the way back, replace your forward bend. Right shoulder down on the way through, replace your forward bend. So for me to keep my body, my inclination to the ground the same in the follow through, for the purpose of making contact the easiest, I also need to have side bend. This time it's right side bend. So during the downswing, my right shoulder goes to the right, to the ground. Now if I just turn, you'll notice from the down the line angle, now my body's still bent over. Again, I keep that angle from the side bending. So when my right shoulder's lower with my turn, that keeps this angle. If I did just the forward bend and I kept that, here again, you can see from face on, that's not what we want to look like. So the first reason we must do side bend is to maintain our inclination to the ground. The idea is to replace the amount of forward bend we have with that amount of side bend during the backswing or tilt, and the same thing on the way through. The second reason why we need this tilt is to keep our head centered and our body centered. So from the face on angle, if I drew a circle around my head, and you could look at this really from both angles, if I turned my shoulders level to the ground, notice what happens to my head. From the face on camera, you can see that my head works outside of the circle, away from the target. That moves my low point too far back. It makes contact very difficult for me. Also from this angle, you can see when my left shoulder goes high, that my head comes off the forward line that it started with. Imagine in its most basic form, my idea is to hit this ball as well as I can, as consistently as I can. Would you teach someone, hey, keep your head relatively in the circle you started with? That would probably be the easiest. Or would you teach them, hey, during your backswing, make your head go up, to the right, then back down and forward, right? You would do the first method. You would keep your head in the circle. And that's really the second thing we must do, and why we need to tilt is for me to keep my head in the circle, my left shoulder has to go down during my backswing. And then from face on, for me to keep it there from about halfway down through, my right shoulder needs to go down. If my left shoulder goes too high during the backswing, my head goes off the ball. If my right shoulder goes too high during the follow through, my head goes forward of the ball. The goal is to keep your head in the circle during the entire backswing, a little bit down and forward with an iron to start, but then it stays right in that new circle all the way through. And both of those are done with the side bend or the tilting. Okay, so in terms of feels, right, if you want just a simple feel of how to do this, I would say you want to get your tilt during the backswing or the side bend from a combination of two things, really. One is going to be you feeling your left shoulder working more down. You can also feel your right shoulder up. So do the same things, but the shoulder tilt. The second one's going to be the leg flex. So part of this angle of me keeping my body in this inclination I started with is my left knee has to gain some flex or increase its bend a little bit as my right leg goes back. So if you want just a simple feel to start with, you would feel your left shoulder down and your left knee down during the backswing. So here's my normal setup. I'm going to try and keep my head in the circle from face on, replace my forward bend with tilt from the down the line angle, and I'm going to do that from feeling my left shoulder down and my left knee down. How much of that do? I do it specifically, slowly, kind of the whole way, incrementally, and I do it to the point where my head stays in the circle, and I've replaced this forward bend with side bend. If I do too much, watch this side, my angle actually got closer to the ground, and my head went forward. That's not good. If I don't do it enough, from both angles, my head goes to the right, and I'm taller than I started. So left shoulder down, left knee down, head stays in the circle, body stays the same angle. How do I know for sure? Well, ultimately video, right? Live view, recording yourself. So left shoulder down, left knee down. Those would be the pieces that I want to feel during the backswing. Now, during the downswing, I really just want to feel the same thing if I'm keeping it simple. So I want to feel my right shoulder down during the downswing. Just like the left shoulder, I can put the club across, feel the butt of the club work back towards about even with my right foot, just outside the golf ball. That'd be about a good tilt, 35 degrees. Shoulders turned about 90 degrees to my back line. As I work down through, my right shoulder is actually going to be slightly underneath or steeper than my shoulder turn going back. So if you put your club across, it'd be left shoulder down, at or just outside the golf ball, even with the trail foot. Right shoulder would be even steeper than that. So the club should point inside the ball line. It's a really nice way to feel this. So my left shoulder goes down, left knee on the way back. Now my right shoulder goes down on the way through at an even steeper angle, usually closer to 50 degrees, which we'll show you on the screen there. So left shoulder down, left knee down on the way back, right shoulder down on the way through. That would be me doing both of those. Now, do you need to be conscious and actively think about both sides? Depends on if you're doing it correctly or not. If you don't have enough tilt on the way back, then yes, you do need to consciously think about that. I would use those checkpoints in those videos. And I would start with the backswing first, like get good at just those two pieces so you can maintain your inclination and head in the circle. So it's left shoulder down, left knee down, head stays in the circle, replacing my forward bend with side bend. I would do just that piece first. If you have that piece in and you feel good about that and you need more of the tilt on the way down, if you're someone who loses your body angles from this down the line angle, so you did not maintain your inclination to the ground, the side bend, or from the face on, if your head goes too forward, both of those, you need more tilt during the downswing. You would feel that from having your right shoulder down, club across your shoulders, not the whole club to the right with the club head there. Get that club head right to the golf ball. That'd be a nice way to feel that steepening of your shoulder tilt during the downswing. So if you need more of that during the downswing, right shoulder down. All right, guys, so ultimately from a drill perspective, I do like the club across the shoulders, getting the butt of the club just at or outside the ball line, and even with your trail foot for the tilt in your backswing, and then getting that slightly steeper on the way down. But I think the best way you can do it is the head on the wall. Now I was fortunate enough to have this from Don Law. You can see the noodle height here. You could actually build something like this, put an object through your golf bag, or use a literal wall, have someone hold a club up on the front of your forehead. But notice when I set this up, what I'm going to do is put this on my forehead to start with. And if I keep my head on the wall on the way back, and I keep my head on the wall on the way through, only until about arms parallel, that serves both purposes for me automatically. From face on, my head stays in the circle. From down the line, I maintain my inclination to the ground. So it forces me to do the turning, the tilting, extending, and doing the tilting we want. Now notice at height-wise, this is only in line with about the bottom part of my neck, so it should be lower than your head. You should be able to take your normal setup with your head rounded down. It goes on the front part of your forehead. And the idea here would be keep my head pressed into this till about left arm parallel, and the same thing to about right arm parallel on the way through. So I'll hit a couple so you can see here, but this would be a really nice way to feel this. Left shoulder down, right shoulder down. And that's a really, really nice sensation. You can see, like I'm gonna see as I do it, where do I start to come off? And those are the ways, and those are the times that I need to feel the tilting even more on both sides. So this is an absolutely excellent way to practice tilting back and through. All right, guys, so the last part here that I wanna go over is how your tilt changes per club. And the basic idea is it doesn't really change. Now, it's gonna change a little bit automatically. When I say it doesn't change, what I really mean is the feels that you have will remain the same. We're trying to replace the amount of forward bend we have with side bend on both sides. So, due to our setup, like let's grab a sand wedge versus an 8-iron versus driver. The shorter the club, like sand wedge, I'm more bent over at setup. So if I'm trying to replace that with side bend, I'm gonna have more tilt, right, or side bend during my backswing because I was more bent over at setup. But I'm still trying to go about 90 degrees to my back line. Now with an 8-iron, I'll be just a little bit taller. I'm still trying to replace that forward bend. And then with a driver, I would be the tallest. Notice I'm much taller here. So I'm still replacing my forward bend, but because I wasn't bent over as much, I won't have as much tilt. All right, guys, thank you for watching today's video on tilting. Sort of the simple thing here is tilting on both sides is gonna make it a lot easier for you to hit the ball solid consistently day to day. The little more complicated stuff is what it does specifically are two things to help you hit it more solid. Keep your inclination to the ground on both sides and keep your head in the circle or keep you centered from face on. And the two best drills I like are the club across and the head on the wall. If you guys did like this video, as I mentioned, would really appreciate if you click that gray thumbs up if you hung on this long, and would love to have you at CogornoGolf.com. Schedule a 15-minute call with myself. We'll go over and figure out if we've got a good solution for you and what that solution would be. Would love to see you at CogornoGolf.com. We'll put a card on the screen, more similar videos to this on tilting if it's something you're looking to improve, and we'll also put that Cogorno Golf logo. You could click that, that'll take you right there.